version. This is actually the 80-minute version. This is not available it's only available through the Inosanto Academy and myself. So I was wondering if Dan could talk about that. So you have a little bit of idea about the 1st, 2nd Filipino Infantry, and also 978, the Allied Intelligence Bureau, they're all in there.
Well, Tony asked me to talk about this. We know about this because we're a product of Stockton. If you look over here, this thing is on the 1st Filipino Infantry. This is a very unique group. This is 1st Filipino Infantry. 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 But there's a 1st and 2nd. And I don't know if people realize there was no SEAL team. There was no Delta team. There was no what we call special forces at that time. So what the American government, they drew from these units. Now you look at it so you don't think I'm embellishing. They have a group called the Alamo Scouts, which a lot of guys came from this unit. The Alamo Scouts, I believe, if I'm correct, and you can check me out to see, there's over 100 missions. They never lost a person. Wow. They're just now declassifying this stuff now, and what is it, 2009? That's how secret the missions were. These guys were called First Reconnaissance, because the First Reconnaissance were like the Rangers. There was Rangers, but they were a little bit more, if you Rangers were here, they would be right here, because they did the recon. 2 years before MacArthur, they were always in it. Anybody who's lived in the Philippines either had an uncle or a close family friend that has been in these units. These guys were like unbelievable. They also were PACAOs. That's a Filipino civil group. They were also Alamo Scouts. Now, I'm not talking about the Alamos. You know, there's a fight in Texas called the Alamo. They were named after them. A lot of them were Hispanic. A lot of them were Native American Indian. And a good number of them were Filipino, because they have to infiltrate the Philippines and look for like Filipinos. Now, it sounds easy to do, but it's not really, because the Japanese are very, very intelligent. The minute they knew that he didn't belong there by the accent and by the dialect. There's 78 dialects. So if he's talking a dialect, they would be suspicious. If they're caught, they're put to death. A lot of them didn't make it back. But this is that's what this tells about. It tells about how after they didn't realize how many units. Like my one godfather, Filipinos are very fond of grandfathers, so I love a godfather. One godfather, they took out these units and they placed them in Europe. My one godfather was Reverend McGarry. He was a chaplain, so they took him out of the first building and they put him in unit. They gave him to what we call, when I use the word, this is not to be racist, but they call it all-white unit. So they were placed in units like that. He was in in Italy. A lot of them were put in other units. They were put in units that weren't even Army, because they knew a lot of self-defense. They gave them to teach Rangers. They taught the Marine Raiders. They took them out of these units, and this is pretty much where they put them. So this unit, as soon as they finish, they were put in different, like that. Everybody knows, like in our hometown, they jumped in Normandy. These guys don't know World War II, that's what's hard about it. They jumped on Normandy. They jumped in and they fought in our hometown. There's Filipinos that fought in the Battle of the Bulge. You know, they were taken out of these units and they were put in other units. We call them all-white units at that time, because at that time the service was a little bit segregated, and sometimes they would put them in what we call Caucasian units. Very, very difficult. And then some of them, like my uncle, was always in a Caucasian unit. But this is probably in fact, I think if they were really fair, that these people will probably have more medals. But in order to get the Medal of Honor, you have to have an officer recommended.
Caucasian officer.
Caucasian officer. But so these guys never really got, I don't think, the deserving units. They're very expert in the use of blade. That's why they swear by it. So people say, well, why the blade? Even now, can you see this picture over here? This is now, it's happening now. So this grass grows 18 feet high, 20 feet high. It's very thick, and you can't see. So therefore, they couldn't use the weapons, automatic weapons. So most of the blade work, like Mount Leo, it's all sword. It's a very outstanding unit. You know, they taught with realism. Very good. Is one for us? Who's right here? And one will tell you, because Juan is a ranger, and he was in Panama. He was stationed. He was already in Iraq. But he will tell you he would tell me one time he jumped in Panama, he was looking for his GPA bag. And he said, what the heck? And it was up like, what, 18 feet up in the...
About 15 feet.
Yeah, that's the kind of terrain they fought in. You can't shoot because you would shoot their own men. So therefore, the skill of the use of the blade and the skill of the use of the dagger was great. That's my uncle Vincent. He was in the first one. Him and Captain Ledesma did a lot of the teaching at the 1st Filipino Infantry. And not that they're going to fight like this, but the tactics, if they lost their weapon, and many times they fought like this, and many times they just long-armed. But this is really good because I don't think, even this doesn't even tell enough, but this, I think I think this gives the most credit to that unit that's ever been, because it's never been talked about. That's why they call it the Untold, the Old Hunt tribe, because nobody knows about this, nobody. And the casualties, geez, they died. But our hometown, you can, we live in the south side. It's really rough. They will tell you, from where you live, it's really rough. You do not survive. You're really streetwise. It's like, it would be like East St. Louis. It would be equivalent to East St. Louis, right? It would be like some of the worst parts of Chicago. And one of the parts, you gotta know. But we thought it was friendly.
Yeah, we didn't have
That's the funny part about it. We thought they go Edison High School. Wow, how the heck do you guys? But when you live in it, there's a lot of nice people.
Yeah.
You just gotta know the rules of the game. If you didn't know the rules of the game, you might not live the next week. But there's Stockton was at one time, they had the #1 crime in the United States, higher than Chicago, higher than New York. It's not a good reputation. And because they were doing a documentary in Canada, and they asked me, "Are you from Stockton?" I said, "Yes," because they saw a documentary. He said, "But you're not from Stockton, but you're not from the south side of Stockton." I said, "Yeah, I'm from the south side of Stockton." He says, "But you're not south of Charter Way." And I said, "Yes, definitely." I live on A Street, but it's only 9th Street. That's South Stockton. But these guys, this community, a lot of them, when they retired, they formed in South Stockton, and they are unbelievable in the use of arms. There was a time during the Tom can tell this story. Sometimes they knew when paydays, so to get to Social Security, and they would try to hit these old Philippine guys, but they didn't know what they were dealing with. Those guys used to roll up the road, you really got them in the number. But this will tell about the people. A lot of them came from Hawaii and California, but primarily from California, around the area right there. But it's a good story, and the missions they went on, they're like unbelievable. And this will sort of tell. They successfully. This is not coming on, but this is one right here, when they freed the prison camp coming on.
Right.
That's very good. There was, they were right before the World War II. Warfare. If you're Japanese, this is not. Right before that, they were killing all the American prisoners. They just burned them alive. And so MacArthur knew that he had to save a lot of the Americans. So he sent a lot of the what we call Alamo Scouts and the Ranger and Filipino guerrilla units, which were established by 1st and 2nd Filipino Infantry. And they were the ones that came in and freed the prisoners at the 2 basic prison camps. But I don't know if I told you enough or not.
Yeah,
but this is their story, and it's very real to us because we knew a lot of the people that lived in that area. It's a very unique area. Let me listen. I'm not going to go back to Stockton. Although when he gives a tour of South Stockton. I said, you like lose some students to give it a tour of South Stockton.
I'm 100%. I don't lose any.
He gives a work camp.
Affiliate camp.
Affiliate camp.
Yeah.
And he makes them cut asparagus
Yeah.
just to feel like what it was like. And these guys were in tremendous. They'll tell you about in that documentary. They are in tremendous condition. The conditioning, that's from because anybody who works in asparagus, we work 10 hours. That's nothing. Like when I had my first job and it was only 8 hours, I said, oh, you mean people work 8 hours? because they always work over 8 hours. You know, I hate farming. I'll tell you that. I was so glad to get a regular job because, and then I said, oh my God, this is easy. It's only 8 hours, because sometimes those hours are like 10, 12. They don't really go by the clock. And these guys are like a product. That's why they were such in good shape. I think they tell that.
Yeah, right.
They tell how they were such good. They go on a 26-mile and they go, rather they thought they'd kill these guys, but we're going 26 miles. Let's go again. It tells about this, the whole condition, and that's from the farmer. But I liked it. I watched it 5 times already because every time I see it, I see something that I didn't see before. So I'm just going to highly recommend it, you know, and I like it. And, you know, I cry in it, but then I know a lot of people. For you, it's like maybe it's a documentary, but for me, it's very, very real. I don't know if that's good.
Yeah, thank you, Guro. Thank you very much.
But you get the basic idea. It's really good. I really enjoy it. It was on PBS already, right?
Right.
Yeah. But this is the longer version.
This is the long version. In fact, you'll see Mang Leo in there. You'll see a lot of the Stockton people that we grew up with, and also the Hawaiian guys. They got a whole Hawaiian group that are pretty cool. This is the 80-minute version. No one has it. No one has it but Guro and myself. So if you want to get a copy, either Guro or I will have it. So
It's worth buying.
Yeah.
If you're Filipino, you ought to really get it because it really is deep. It really shows their caliber.
And you should listen to their interviews because they're very passionate about what they went through. And yeah, you know, we all cried when we watched it. So, and we still cry when we watch it because it's so emotional, so moving for us because we know who these people are. And you know, it's most of these guys aren't here anymore, and this is the only record we have of them. So yeah, and there's some good footage, not only, you know, the interviews, but World War II, good stories in here. 80 minutes long.
Philip Diamond
narrates it. The governor of Hawaii, the first Filipino governor in the United States, he's on the front also. So yeah, if you get I know it's expensive. It's $99, but it's very expensive for us to purchase it too. So we're really not making anything on it. If you try to buy the regular one, 57, it's 99 minutes. If you try to buy it for a university or college, it's $279. And we have the longer version. So